Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is Friday, February 4th, 2023. Lance Bratt here. Unfortunately, got lazy last night after SmackDown and Rampage were over. Did not do an episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. So, right here on GMWF, going to talk real quick about some of the things that took place on WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage from last night. First, I want to mention that I missed this last night on SmackDown, but now I know that there was a brief mention from Michael Cole on the passing of Lanny Poffo, but I was kind of surprised that maybe he wasn't one of the huge main eventers for the promotion, but he was a pretty big star in big time for the company during Hulkamania. So I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get at least a graphic in memory of picture at the beginning of the show. But it's still nice at least they mentioned it. And we see the bloodline, or most of the bloodline, arrive. The WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the Wise Man Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. Jey Uso is nowhere to be found, and apparently they haven't heard from him, as later on Jimmy and Solo say they have not been able to reach him since the Royal Rumble. And then later on in the night, Roman Reigns tells them that Paul Heyman got him some catering on the bus, sushi and steak. So he tells them to go out there and eat while he takes care of some business in the ring. And he says that he wants to talk about Cody Rhodes since he won the Royal Rumble last Saturday. But he says that everybody wants him to talk about Sami Zayn. And then we see someone in a hood enter through the crowd and attack Roman Reigns. And it is Sami Zayn wearing his new t-shirt, which is available at WWEshop.com, where it's the Sami Uso shirt, but it looks like some tape over Uso, and they replaced it with Zayn again. So he attacks Roman. Roman gets the advantage a little bit, but then Sami comes back. Roman leaves the ring. Sami challenges Roman to a match. He says he wants the undisputed Universal Championship. And then at this time from the crowd, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa make their return. I guess they finished all the sushi and shrimp on the bus, and they attack Sami from behind, and then Roman gets in and continues the attack on Sami, and he gets Sami in the corner. He gets in his face and he accepts the challenge, and he says about how Sami ruined his family since they have not heard from Jey, and he says he's going to beat Sami in his hometown of Montreal. front of all his family and all his friends, his home crowd. As SmackDown goes off the air. But I know I'm going out of order here. Also on SmackDown, it was the team of Braun Strowman and Ricochet winning the number one contenders tournament against Imperium to become the new number one contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. They will be taking on the Usos, which goes back to what I was just talking about. Don't know what that match is going to be like, since in storyline they have not heard from Jey Uso. Will be interesting to see. I'm guessing that they will have him show up in some way. It might even be just before the match, kind of a last minute thing where Jimmy acts like he doesn't know if he's going to be there or not, but then when it's time for the match, he does come out and team with his brother, but doesn't really say much, because this could build until the Elimination Chamber, and during the match we could find out where his loyalty lies between the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. Also, no Kevin Owens on this show, which, like I talked about, was fine earlier, to have him off a little bit to sell the injuries. He can be back next week. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him back in some way. And also, the SmackDown Women's Championship was on the line. Charlotte Flair defeating Sonya Deville. So that was most of SmackDown, at least the biggest highlights of the show from Friday night. Also, AEW Rampage was last night on TNT, and we kicked things off with a match for the AEW Trios Championship. The Elite, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, taking on All Ego, Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. Pretty good trios match to start off Rampage, I thought. It is the Elite retaining to remain AEW Trios champions. Swerve Strickland defeated Brian Pillman Jr. Tony Storm and Saraya were in action, defeating the Renegade Twins. And in the main event of Rampage, Roosh defeated a fallen angel, Christopher Daniels, which I am glad to see him back in the ring. He was also in the main event against Claudio Castagnoli in a very good match of the Jay Briscoe Celebration of Life show that AEW, or Ring of Honor did, I should say. It's available now on Honor Club and Ring of Honor's YouTube for free. And I haven't had a chance to talk about that. I know I'm a little late, but I hope to maybe do a podcast of some kind talking about that show. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Very good tribute. that was all for last night. Well, actually not just yet. This morning, I did watch on Peacock last night's episode of Young Rock, where this was the first episode where he didn't tell a story about himself. There are actually 3 different stories about Pat Patterson creating the Royal Rumble, Andre the Giant, and the first time in the series we actually got to see his grandfather, High Chief Peter Maivia. And tonight on Peacock in the WWE Network, we have NXT Vengeance Day taking place. In the main event, the NXT Championship is on the line. Braun Breaker defending against Grayson Waller in a steel cage match. And the NXT Women's Championship is on the line. Roxanne Perez facing Toxic Attraction in a triple threat match. And other matches. I might do an episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic with a recap of Vengeance Day. Not sure yet. So, just in case though, stay tuned. Right here, 360 Wrestling Podcast on Spreaker or wherever you listen to the podcast at. So that is all for this morning's episode of GMWF. Thank you for listening, everyone. Hope everyone has a great Saturday. Hope everyone enjoys NXT Vengeance Day tonight. Be back tomorrow morning right here for GMWF. But until then, keep watching pro wrestling.